Afternoon, we heard from the province of Ontario in a bid to stem the spread of COVID-19, re-entering lockdown, shutdown. Everyone's using a different name, but basically restrictions being spread across the province in terms of curtailing business. Let's bring in Rocco Rossi, President and CEO of the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. And Rocco, we saw the ugly numbers day after day after day. You got that horrible feeling in your stomach that it was coming again, and here it is. What is your reaction?
It's devastating. I mean, we all wish it could be an April Fool's joke, but it is no joke, and nor are the numbers. So what we're looking for is as much clarity as possible, clear and quick response in terms of supports, and for goodness sake, we need all levels of government and the public health units to get together on accelerating the vaccination rollout. That is the only way. We've seen these lockdowns can drop the numbers for a short period of time, but unless we change the channel completely, and only vaccines are going to do that, will we get to the other side.
When you talk about those government supports, and obviously we've hashed those out quite a bit over the past year, the Premier pointing to them again today in terms of the hardship we know that businesses are going to face. But we had the owner of Barbarian Steakhouse on with Amanda Lang just about an hour ago, and he simply said it sounds like a big number, but when it comes to running a business, I think he said it's just a drop in the bucket. It doesn't get them through.
Absolutely not. I mean, those were fine if you were going to reopen and stay open and sort of cover things. But if you're going back into lockdown, having spent money to reopen, money that you didn't have, that you probably borrowed, it's just a kick in the teeth. And we understand why, but then we get incredibly frustrated. We see south of the border, the U.S. vaccinating almost 3 million or over 3 million a day. And we seem to not be able to get our act together on supply and then distribution, and we just have to do better. We can't slow down on weekends. They tell us we're at war, and then every weekend distribution of the vaccine goes down like it can be something that can be done, mañana, we'll take care of it. No, I don't want any vaccines in freezers. They need to be in arms, period, full stop.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? That is the key, Rocco, in terms of saying when can we get past this. It's going to be about the vaccinations. It's going to be about getting the rates down. Do you feel, too, that in terms of like that being the most important issue? But also, when I think about the region I'm in Peel region and Toronto as well, I was just interviewing a gym owner a couple days ago, just getting that, one sliver of hope. Okay, 10 people outside. This doesn't save our business, but it's something. And then you turn right around and take it away. I mean, it seemed foolhardy. I felt like a lot of people could see the direction we were headed in. It wasn't great, even while Ontario was saying, okay, businesses, you can do this, you can do that. And as you said, there are costs to incur to say, we can exercise outside, let's try to, frame a bit of our business around that and then have it taken away again.
Greg, you're absolutely right. Part of this is, there's so many colors, so many instructions, so many limitations. The lack of clarity has made it very, very difficult. And I know that the government was trying to respond to be, fact-based on a region-by-region basis, but the net of all of it was just way too much confusion. And a number of our members didn't reopen, seeing that there wasn't enough change happening to suggest that we would be able to stay open. So vaccinations. The rapid testing, the government's now beginning to put a push around that. Let's get more information because, quite frankly, lockdowns remain a blunt instrument. And you go to a blunt instrument when you can't do something surgically. You can't do it surgically when you don't have enough data. In the big centers, we're only tracking and tracing about half of the cases. So it doesn't allow you to stay on top of it. We become reactive as opposed to proactive. But we've seen around the world now that the 4 countries that have gotten to 30% vaccination rates with 2 shots are now the only 4 where you have flattened or bringing down the COVID cases despite the variants. So that is really the path forward, and we just have to get our act together.
What I find fascinating and maybe even telling about the measures that we have taken, that there is a camp that says what was announced today by the Ontario government doesn't go nearly far enough to stem the spread of the virus. And then, of course, the other camp saying, what are you trying to do, taking our business away again? It just feels like the government keeps landing in the middle, but the middle doesn't get us anywhere.
Well, it is frustrating, but on the other hand, this dichotomy of health on the one side and economy on the other is completely false, because it's not simply COVID versus money. On the side of closure is mental health, is substance abuse, is incredible levels of anxiety, is all kinds of treatments and screenings, regular screenings for cancer, et cetera, that aren't happening because people can't get to the hospital or are afraid to get to the hospital. So that's why, and I do have a lot of sympathy for the government and the public health officials trying to get this balance, because if it was simply money on one side and health on the other, I think there's absolute clarity on that. But that's not the reality we're facing. It's a complex picture on both sides. And so there has been this attempt at balance. But we know that the only real way forward is through vaccination. And we cannot accept being 43rd in the world in terms of per capita vaccination rollout. We're supposed to be a G7 country, but we're certainly not behaving like one.
Most definitely. Get those vaccinations, get those shots out. When they open it up to somebody my age, I will be there. Rocco, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Immunity for the community. It's the only way out of this.